Hi, I'm Kylie Wa.
And I'm Corey La.
And we are Litlibations.
And we're in New Pretty Town.
We're finally in New Pretty Town.
Woo. We are reading Pretties Part 1 by Scott Westerfeld. And we are reading through chapter 18, which is called Hospital.
Yeah, I was so excited to go to New Pretty Town at the beginning of Uglies. I had said that. I was like, oh, I didn't want to go to the smoke.
Yeah.
Now I'm like dreading being in New Pretty Town.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because of everything that happened. Duh.
No.
Oh.
It sounds horrible. Like, I'm sorry. It sounds horrible. It sounds like I can't imagine that anyone would stay in New Pretty Town past the age of 23.
Yeah. Especially because if you think about how big their city is, like that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Ooh.
I have to know like where the line draws of like New Pretty Town to where you become like a New Pretty to a Middle Pretty, because I'm so serious, like with the slang and with like the like nicknames and with like even the groups. Like I'm just like all of it is very juvenile. Like it's so, and I personally at this age that I'm at right now would die.
You're ready to
I'd pass away.
You're ready to have a job and move on.
I would be like,
you're like, assign me my job. I'm ready to move out of New Pretty Town.
I don't care what lesion is on in my head. I'm like, this is insufferable. I would hate every second of it.
Yeah.
Except for the partying. I could do the partying and I could do the craziness of that sense, like drinking and partying and all the cool stuff they get to do outside of that.
It's just like
really
the
just the
social
slang
aspect.
and social aspect and
like the trends that you have to keep up with.
Yeah.
You have to join a clique.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's stressful.
That'd be great. I would
So
hate
stressful.
that. It feels like a college sorority. Like they're like biting, like trying to get bids at college sororities or
Jeez,
fraternities.
Yeah, it is interesting though.
No, it is for sure.
You just don't want to be there.
I just don't want to be there.
You want to be a
Maybe
nobody.
for the showers, I don't know. But this makes it like a little bit more. Yeah, because they have showers. That's why I wouldn't want to be there.
The smoke doesn't have showers.
I'm not doing an ice bath every time I want to get clean. It's just not happening. I can't.
Sorry.
I cannot do it. Oh,
All right, before we get started, go join the Facebook group. It's Lit Libations Lounge. Go check out the website. It's litlibations.com. Oh my gosh.
What?
We have last Sunday when we were talking to Ty when he was like talking about the podcast, and he's like, oh my God, you have 12 5-star ratings. I'm like, no, we have 22. Because I know. And he's like, he was on Spotify. And I didn't know.
They're different.
Yeah. And I didn't know we have 12 5-star ratings on Spotify. And then I looked again and we have 15 now.
That's crazy.
So thank you guys for that. I had no idea that we had like that those were coming in.
I wonder if we have specific ratings like for other
app.
Yeah, I wonder why they don't go back to Podbean.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so we didn't know, but thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's so exciting. I was like, what?
We're like begging, please go rate, and people are. We can't see it.
So thank you. We just didn't know.
So sorry.
There was a couple people that joined the Facebook group this week, and I want to give them a little shout out. From Orsi. I don't know. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but they said, still listening. Oh, cause they're answering the questions. And they're like all ACOTAR questions. So sorry about that. It said, still listening to your lovely reviews, but not wanting to read the Bridgerton books was what initially drew me in. Your humor, due diligence, and wit is what made me not only stay, but move in.
I love it.
I think that's so wonderful.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. And then another one from Jenny said, listening to When He Was Wicked, my first was to Sir Philip with Love, and while I effing hate that book, I love their coverage.
Oh.
So that's nice to be able to listen to about a book that you hate but still enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
That is really nice. I hope you guys are here. Listen to Uglies and Pretties. Yeah.
This is a great book. I love it. Yeah, I'm excited about this book. It'll be good.
Yes, I have one more thing to say before we start.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so in Uglies Part 1, I was like, this Death Cab for Cutie song reminds me of like the skyline that they're talking about. And I said it was I'll follow you into the dark. But so the scene, remember that?
Yeah,
okay.
I do, because you asked me to acknowledge you, and I was like on a different a different planet completely.
I was cracking up when I listened to that. But so Tally is reminded, like, she sees the skyline and the buildings remind her of Broken Teeth. And the song that I was thinking of is actually called Crooked Teeth.
Oh.
So I should have got that right
It
away.
wasn't even the right.
No, it's not the right song.
No, that's fair.
It was just really funny.
I still can't be
I was like, I
convinced
need
that we're
to
in
say
Seattle. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so fun. Why can't we be in Seattle?
I just
because
can't
of the
be
hurricanes.
Convinced. Yeah, because of the hurricanes. I'm really
it's 300
stressed
years
out.
from now. Who knows what's happening with the weather? You don't know.
I can't. You can't convince me. But yeah, no, that's good. I need to listen to that song then. I want to see
You
where
want me to
your
bring
mind
it up?
is at.
Bring
Sure.
No, we can't. We don't have to do that now. We can start.
I can definitely listen to it later.
Yeah, we do want to do that.
I'm so sorry.
No.
And then we'll bring up Taste by Sabrina Carpenter. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, then we'll just sit here and show each other our music.
And that will be our podcast episode. Thank you for listening to Pretties. Not really.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, all right. Let's get started. Let's get started in
do it.
Pretties. And where did we end off? When Tally gave herself up to become pretty so that way she could take the cure that Maddie made.
Yeah.
To see if it works. To see if it'll either like totally fry our brain or whatever. Totally death making, or if it'll work.
If it'll work.
It'll cure the lesions. And we don't know how the cure works.
Yes.
At all.
That's very important.
That's very important. Nothing was explained to anyone. Okay.
Including us.
Including us or Tally, which is probably who you should explain it to.
Yeah, come on. Anyways. Oh, wait, we forgot to talk about our drinks.
Wait. Okay, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So what are we drinking?
So we're drinking Prosecco mixed with
blueberry wine that I got at Rite Aid.
Woo. Because it's closing across the country.
yeah, because we're closing across the country. And it was a very big discount, so I was like running there.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. I think the wine's really good, and we made it bubbly because that's a very big slang term that they use.
Yeah, it's slang term, and they drink champagne, which is super bubbly.
And bubbly, I think, is supposed to mean like clear-headed.
Yes.
Focused, adrenaline, like
adrenaline.
like an adrenaline rush.
That's very important.
Yeah, it's they say it like it's like a
yeah, it is kind of confusing.
Definition
yeah, if you're not really paying attention, you're like, wait a second, what is bubbly?
What is bubbly?
Is that because it sounds like it should be more
like a negative?
hazy.
Yeah,
yeah. But it's
I wouldn't
the opposite.
take. Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah.
Chapter 1: Criminal. We begin with Tally Youngblood, the main character, in New.
You remember her?
Who's the main character? In New Pretty Town, preparing for a party at Valentino Mansion and struggling with the semi-formal dress code. I would also struggle with that. I hate semi-formal attire.
Yeah. Make it formal or make it casual.
Yeah. Like no in between, please. Seriously. Tally also has a hangover. The result of a late night party with Paris and the other crims is what they're called. Again, there's no explanation. Like they dive into this like we're supposed to know everything that's being said. And it's a little annoying, but like I can also understand why he did it that way.
I kind of love it.
Okay. So
like,
me too.
You don't have to agree with me.
Well, we're getting in trouble for being negative. So
no, we're not. We're not.
I have a hard time because I get it. But they never really fully explain it in full detail. I feel like
the crims.
They explain the
criminals,
but they just like, yeah, criminals.
Okay, every time we come up with every time you come across another one and you don't understand it, we'll talk about it.
I mean, I understand it from context clues.
Okay,
but it also took
enough.
like 3 chapters.
That's enough.
Okay, so Tally was hungover, the result of a late night party with Paris and the other crims or criminals. It's a gang group at the new float rink above the city. It was from Zane, the leader of the crims, that Tally learned that alcohol has a lower freezing temperature than water, because she was like pouring it around even during that time. Like they were skating around. She was like, yeah, I think just like curious of like what would happen even in the beginning. But it was only like a bottle of like champagne, so it wasn't doing like a ton.
Yeah.
Buildings in New Pretty Town are equipped with smart technology, and Tally's room announces that she has an incoming call. It's Shayla. It's just Shay.
It's Shay.
Who informs her that the outfit requirements have changed from semi-formal to costume.
Ooh.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's a lot more
easy,
straightforward.
apparently.
Yeah.
It feels like it wouldn't be, but that's okay.
It is not, because they go through costumes for like an
hour and a half. Yeah. Tally missed the message because she often neglects to wear her interface ring, a habit that she had still from being ugly and sneaking out at night.
I love that.
Shay arrives with breakfast because she knows Tally is hungover, and Tally drinks a Bloody Mary to settle her nerves.
Yeah.
Because drinking is the best way to get over a hangover.
I've never done that.
And neither have I.
And I don't want to.
I don't know whose brave souls do that, but I've heard that it is.
It couldn't be me. I'll suffer through it.
It's a very brave thing to do.
It is.
And I'm obsessed if people do it, but I have never been able to do it.
It's not me.
Because I go immediately to being like sick.
Right.
Like nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I'm hungover, I'm nauseous. I don't want anything else in my stomach.
No, I agree.
More of the thing that made me that way.
It's hard to even eat.
Yeah.
So
you just gotta suffer through it until it's over.
Yeah, I just think that they're built different, honestly. Just people who can drink after drinking.
I think so too.
Shay draws Tally's attention to her eyes, Shay's eyes, which she has surged, which is another term, to have her pupils surrounded by gemstones. And I'm assuming surged just means like
a surgery.
Oh, I didn't.
Shit, I should have let you finish that thought.
I had no idea that was what that was surged for.
Yeah.
What I am lost in this. I don't know.
Okay.
So
I'll have to help you.
Maybe it's because I didn't read it when I was an adolescent.
Maybe because I've read it so many times that I started to put things together.
Yeah, it could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tally is initially dismissive of the new addition, but feels guilty when her response disappoints Shay. So she lies to make her friend feel better. She's like, what does she say? She's like, oh, is it supposed to reflect? It's supposed to reflect a clock because it's all white and I think with one blue, and it's supposed to like reflect a time.
Yeah, like it shows the real time, but it's backwards.
And she's like, that's a little complicated. And she's like, is it really? She's like, oh my God, that is not bubbly. That is not cool making at all. They always say something making. Like, I don't really know.
Bubbly making.
She's like, I'm so
Pretty
brain
making.
missing right now because I'm totally not being bubbly right now. And it's like, you know, so that's kind of the conversation in her head. Tally reveals that tonight is the night she will be voted in or out of the Crim's social group, which is causing her a ton of anxiety.
So much stress.
Yeah. The two girls try to think of a totally criminal-making costume to go along with the social group because obviously now they're in costumes. And I don't know if the costumes are kind of supposed to be like a reflection of their group. Like it just says costume party, and I think everyone's assuming that it needs to be like a reflection of their group.
Yeah, maybe.
Because maybe I say it later because I feel like their costumes at the Valentino party later on all kind of reflect
their criminal history.
No, well, yeah, the
Just
criminal criminals in history, yeah, throughout like human history. But then like other groups like the hot airs and like the bug ones. Like, I don't know. There's a couple different groups that are all at the Valentino party, but
I forgot.
I feel like they're all reflective of
their clique.
Why they're in that clique.
Yeah. Interesting.
While struggling to come up with a costume idea, Tally reflects on her days as an ugly. Shay tries to comfort Tally, assuring her that she will get into the Crims. She will get into the Crims.
Don't worry, Tallywa. You're in for sure.
I'm sorry. Shay has been pretty for nearly a month longer than Tally. The girls' friends and inducted Crims, Paris and Fausto, is that how you say that? Fausto. Okay. Arrive wearing costumes made of sparklers and bungee jackets, leading Tally to make another social misstep when she asks too many questions about it. She's like, when are you going to light those? How long are they going to be lit?
What the
fuck is going on?
Those are interesting questions.
And they're like, that is so not bubbly. While Tally hugs Paris, Shay finds a wool sweater from the smoke that the smart wall could not recycle. Shay proposes that they dress up as Smokies, her and Tally agrees despite feeling like unsure about it.
Yeah.
Despite really not wanting to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because she's like, those are memories that make me feel internally confused.
Yeah. And she can't really recall those memories. But like the Smokies aren't like, they're not a good thing.
Yeah.
And she's maybe embarrassed to have been a part of it.
I think like in a way, she's not, because obviously it gives her a good story.
Yeah.
That everyone loves, and it like gives her this reputation that everyone is very much a fan of. But at the same time, like I think when she thinks back on the memories, for me it feels like she has feelings that she doesn't want to feel, and she doesn't understand why she's feeling those feelings.
So true.
Like they seem like they shouldn't be aligned.
Like something's trying to come back up that she doesn't want to feel, and she's like, no, stomp it down.
Her feelings are not aligning with her memories.
Yeah.
And it makes her, I think, feel uncomfortable.
I love it.
Chapter 2, Bash. Valentino Mansion is the oldest building in New Pretty Town. The walls are made of stone, so they cannot talk. Okay, just a little thing about this. This was so interesting to me. The Valentino building, the Valentino Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously it is one of the oldest buildings in New Pretty Town, which is already in itself like very interesting to me, because I cannot understand why they have this piece from practically like Rusties era,
right?
Just like in the middle of their town. It feels like an ode to it, but almost not. But also, what was cool about it is they said that it was made by someone who was one of the Rusties era's natural pretties.
And we tried to talk about that earlier.
Owned by someone, and it's Valentino, which is obviously a designer brand. I don't know who started Valentino as like a designer brand.
I thought it was an actor. I thought the mansion was named after. I thought they said it.
Oh, maybe.
And then I googled it.
But
and
Valentino
is
also a designer,
right?
Or a design brand.
Maybe that's what it's named after.
I don't know. I really don't know. Either way, it just is interesting.
Yeah.
I just find the whole
the fact that they have like a dumb building right in the middle of New Pretty Town.
Yeah, it seems very contradictory, and I just think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of obsessed.
I love it.
And everyone in New Pretty Town, I feel like, is fairly obsessed. That's where they have their biggest, most exciting bashes, because it's different.
Yeah, it's like the place to be.
Yeah. As Paris, Fausto, Tally, and Shay approach, Tally observes the other costumes and social groups trying to overcome their nerves. And this is where she sees that the groups have different like costumes showing their...
Yeah. So what are the hot airs dressed as?
I don't remember.
Me either.
A hot air balloon, probably. It's not right.
A tether. No.
I don't remember. I don't remember if they were at the party actually. I only remember I just remember their name, because obviously they're very integral throughout the rest of the story. I specifically remember there was like ones dressed as like bugs.
Yeah. Okay. I do kind of remember that too, but I don't remember why.
And there were a couple other examples that they had.
Yeah.
The group gets lost trying to find the other crims because the building cannot communicate with them. And Tally feels as if someone is following her. She's like, I can feel the eyes on the back of my neck. What is it about necks?
Oh, the back of the neck?
Yeah.
Weird.
That's where I feel like when people are like looking at you, like that's where I feel it is like the hairs.
Yeah, I thought you were making a Gregory reference.
I was.
Oh, okay.
I was.
You just moved on really quick.
So when she recognizes the pursuer's costume as depicting special circumstances, she panics.
Yes.
So the guy, whoever it is dressed up as a wolf, like a pretty wolf.
Yeah, that's
kind of
so confusing.
Yeah.
Oh, because like the specials look like wolves.
Wolves, yeah, like pretty wolves. Yeah. These specials, Tally recalls, are special agents who work to protect the city from outside threats, and very few pretties meet them. So most people think that they're just a rumor,
a myth, a legend,
a rumor. She tries to play off her nervousness and ignore her suspicions about the guy in the costume, the person in the costume. And she suggests that the group go to the other building that is attached to the Valentino Mansion. That's a smart building, so that they can actually call the other crims. When they do, they end up calling the other crims, and Zane confirms that they are partying in the Spire, and the group departs to join them. Tally notes that the costume figure is definitely still following her. It's not good.
Nope, not good.
Chapter 3, Lurker. Tally describes the other crims' costumes, and the social groups approves of Tally's smoke sweater.
Oh, they like it.
Yeah.
They're like, that's so criminal or whatever.
Oh, and Zane likes Shay's new eyes, which I think is... and he gives her like Helen's.
Yes.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Oh, like Helen of Troy. Was so... she had the beauty to launch 1,000 ships. So he compares...
Did they explain that?
I think so. I think so.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's like when he's talking to Tally on the balcony or something. Yeah. Because Helen has the power to launch 1,000 ships. And so he compares everyone else's like beauty to Helen by saying like a Milla Helen or a Mega Helen.
Yeah. A Millie Helen.
Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
Wait, we talked about that in a different book. There was like a reference to Helen of Troy. Maybe it was Gregory or something. I don't remember. It was like recently.
I can't remember that at all.
It was either Gregory or Hyacinth. I'm going to take a drink after that one. No, yeah, I remember. I was like, well, that's so interesting because it happens again in Pretties.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I didn't realize Helen of Troy was that pretty. It's got to be a myth because if it's Helen of Troy.
Yeah, isn't it Greek mythology?
Okay, so did we talk about it in Circe?
No.
All right. We had to have talked about it in Circe.
Maybe we did, but I didn't connect it back to Pretties because it was not on my radar yet.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. After a few minutes, Tally steps out onto the balcony because she feels overwhelmed by the costume special thing that is following her. Costume dresses is special. No, the costume. The guy in a costume dresses is special. Tally looks out onto Uglyville and tries to reconcile her fuzzy memories of the wild compared with the clarity of waiting for her pretty surgery. She reflects on the requirements of becoming Crim, which involve mischief, trickery, and an appreciation for the days as uglies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
She checks all those boxes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Zane joins Tally on the balcony, and Tally calls Uglyville a prison. Zane prompts her to talk about her time at the Smoke and her reasons for going there, but Tally insists that she only wanted to find Shay and bring her home. Zane talks about going to the Rusty Ruins and asks if Tally ever met anyone there. And Tally then realizes that the others have joined them on the balcony and insists that she never met anyone at the ruins, and she doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. She's gaslighting him. Then she sees the costume.
Well, she didn't ever meet anybody at the ruins, so.
Oh, yeah. She's okay. She's still gaslighting him though, because she knows what he's talking about. Okay. Yeah. Then she sees the costume figure in the spire, staring at her. The figure vanishes into the crowd, causing Tally to chase after them with like so much clarity at this point. She's like stressed out. She follows them out to the emergency stairs where the figure is sitting on the steps waiting for her. A male voice compliments Tally on remembering special circumstances and invites her to remove their mask.
Oh, what? Take my mask off.
That's what he says.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Tally believes that this person is a member of Specials trying to recruit her, but the figure claims to have something for her. Noise below them draws their attention, and they realize the real special circumstances are climbing the stairs.
Oh. Tally
grabs the mask off the person's face while he is distracted and finds that it's an ugly boy. And she's like, Croy?
It's not David.
No, I was really hoping it was David.
I thought it was going to be.
Me too. I was disappointed when I saw it was Croy. I do love Croy though.
You do love Croy.
I do love Croy.
You do love Croy.
Chapter 4, Fall. Croy flees out the stairwell, and after the moment of confusion, Tally chases after him. The appearance of the Specials has put her on edge, and she's confused why, because like the Specials are supposed to be a good thing. Like she went there to help Shay on their authority, but like they're not bad. They're not supposed to be bad in her mind.
They're helping the city, right? They help the city.
That's what they do. And she chases him onto the balcony, Croy onto the balcony where the Crims continue to the party. He leaps off the balcony wearing a bungee jacket. An alarm goes off as the Specials arrive, and Tally's mind clears as she runs to Paris. She tackles him off the balcony. The two bounce down into the night. Paris's bungee jacket sending them in the same direction as Croy, and she's like holding on to him. She's like literally about to fall.
Yeah.
Tally releases Paris to let him bounce further away, but his knee bashes her into the face and knocks her in the ground.
Yeah. And by the way, Paris and Fausto's costumes were, weren't they like party goers trying to escape a fire?
Oh yeah, because of Tally, like because of what Tally did.
Oh, in the beginning
of Uglies. So
that's so funny
because that story is still widely talked about.
Yeah, she's so popular already
because it was such a big event. It's hard for me to like wrap my head around the fact that truly since the beginning of Uglies, what has it been, like 5 months?
Yeah, if that. It's probably been like 3.
No, it had to have been. No, it couldn't have been.
Shay's been pretty for 1 month.
Yeah, she's been pretty for 1 month.
So how long
but
was she?
when Tally jumped off the balcony, when the story began, that was 3 months before she turned 16. So they had to have spent 3 months because she left after she turned 16. So then she was in the smoke for like about a month, and then it's been a month since she's been pretty. So probably about 5 months.
Yeah, it's a good guess.
Yeah. It takes her a moment to recover, but she gets to her feet and runs down the hill calling for Croy. Again, she is very, very, very bubbly right now.
Bubbly.
Very clear-headed. She catches him, and he and another ugly are preparing to escape on hoverboards. Croy shows Tally a pouch and promises to leave it at Valentino 317 for her. Croy and his companions leave as Tally realizes her head is bleeding from Paris's knee. Tally drops to the ground and as Paris makes his way back to her. A warden comes for them, and Tally's clarity begins to fade. She becomes very pretty-headed.
She's like, I bashed my head.
She's like, oh no, I need to go home.
I need med spray.
And new skin. 2 adults administer first aid to Tally and then ask her about the uglies. Tally claims that Croy was just showing off, and the adults assure her that they will be keeping an eye on her before they take her home. When she arrives, she receives a message from Paris notifying her that the Crims have voted to admit her into their
she's
into their clique.
She's a Crim.
Into their gang.
Calling it a gang is so funny.
What else would you call them? Like, let's be
clique.
let's be so for real. Like, let's actually look at this from like a very, very like real like circumstance right now. Okay? They don't hurt people. That's fair. But everything they do is to actively break the rules of New Pretty Town. Everything that they do is to actively like, what's the word? Like have an adrenaline rush constantly by breaking rules left, right, and center. And at one point, like they do kind of they create so much commotion. That is a gang. That's a gang.
That's so
Wait,
funny.
let me look at the dictionary definition of a gang.
Okay,
let's see.
This will be interesting. I've never thought about them as a gang.
And oh my god, this is the perfect.
Okay,
an organized group of criminals.
I mean, yeah, they are called the Crims. They are very organized, as we'll see. They're a gang.
So they're a gang.
Scott.
Okay.
You write about gangs.
Literally.
Just kidding.
Tally tries to rest and tells herself that she has everything she wants, but something continues to put her on edge.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
A gang.
Tally's in a gang. Oh my gosh.
She's part of the gang. She's done the initiation ritual, which was jumping off of a building with one of the members.
Yeah.
That's a gang.
That's so true. It's so funny to think about it like that. All right, chapter 5, Zane. Tally has a dream about a princess stuck in a high tower, guarded by a dragon, and of course there was a prince, and he got past the dragon and into her tower and kissed her, but the prince was totally ugly. The lesions on her brain are supposed to make her forget, but she can't forget about David. He shows up in her dreams.
That's interesting. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because it had already in the first 4 chapters.
Well, and especially in your dreams, because you like that's where isn't that like scientifically where like subconsciously a lot of things go
I don't know.
Or like manifest themselves in dreams.
Yeah, I don't know because my dreams are scary.
Well, they're not
Don't
always
say that.
they're not always literal,
No,
but
I know.
they like have meanings. Her dreams are extremely literal.
I'm interested
they're
in
literal.
dream interpretation. So if you're into that, send us an email because I have a couple of paragraphs to send you.
That'd be totally bubbly making.
Yeah, it'd be totally bubbly making. Tally wakes up with a headache and decides to keep her totally Crim scar. I'm going to talk just like with all the slang.
Oh, God.
She had a mountain of pings from the other Crims about the events of the night, and she's happy to be in a clique/gang and have friends. There were 3 pings from Zane, and he had invited her to breakfast that morning. She pinged him back, and he asked how she was doing, and she said, totally face missing. Did Paris tell you how my head got bonked? Zane tells her.
Face missing.
Totally face missing.
That's a terrible word.
Why?
I hate it.
Okay. Zane tells her that someone hacked the mail yesterday, changing the dress code from party to costumes. Oh, he changed the dress code of the party to costumes. He's like, the theme of this party is party.
It's party. And we're changing that theme to costumes.
No one knows who actually did this, though. Everyone just assumed it was someone else. Dizzying, huh? Tally knows it has to do with her, but hopes it was someone on the Valentino Bash committee going totally brain missing. But she tells Zane it's deeply bogus. They have breakfast together in a pleasure garden called Denzel Park. A maintenance robot is turning blackened patches of grass over, planting new seeds, which I thought was a really cool image because like the grass is messed up from Pretty starting fires in the garden.
Yeah, which is super ironic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is Denzel Park. Do you think it's based off of Denzel Washington?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's why I put it in there.
I agree.
Yeah. He might be a natural Pretty.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, anyways, it doesn't matter.
Well, he's just a little bit crumbly, so I just can't really.
Oh, okay. Well, what about when in his prime?
I'm gonna Google Denzel Washington.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Okay.
Zane sees Tally's scar for the first time, and it's totally criminal looking. He likes it. Oh yeah, and this is when he said something about her scar having like Mila Helen's again.
Oh yeah.
Zane's appearance, according to Tally, is extreme. He dyed his hair jet black with calligraphy ink because you're not allowed to have black hair as a Pretty, making his gaunt features from not eating stand out from every other Pretty. Tally scarfs down a ton of food and is a little worried and self-conscious because Zane is only drinking coffee. But she's like, whatever, I'm going to enjoy myself. It doesn't matter. She hopes the meal came with calorie purgers, which we don't get an explanation on what that is, but it's just like pills that purge calories.
So they talk about at one point how it makes you like sweat and almost like feel hot. Like that's the only time that Pretties will sweat is when after they take calorie purgers. So my assumption is it's like boosting your metabolism to the point of like burning off everything at a very, very quick rate.
Oh, that's really interesting.
That's my assumption.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Who knows? Zane asks Tally who that guy was last night, and she says he was an ugly from the smoke named Croy. Turns out Zane and Croy knew each other as littlies and lived in the same ugly dorm. Not a coincidence, Tallywa. There were 6 uglies in Zane's dorm, and they called themselves the Crims back then, too. And he knew Shay as well, and that's how they all connected here in New Pretty Town. He tells Tally how they used to do all the old ugly tricks her and Shay did, like the Rusty Ruins and spying on new Pretties. And Tally loses her appetite. Maybe breakfast with Zane was a bad idea. He had a tendency to talk like an ugly, which could be dizzying. She didn't like that. She didn't like ugly talk. He tells her he wanted to run away as an ugly. He tried to talk the others into it, but they thought he was crazy. Until we met this guy out there, and Tally's like, stop talking. Tally's heart beats faster, and her pretty haze fades a little, just like last night. She slowly remembers the story. Memories from the smoke always came back at a brain-missing pace. She guesses Zane's whole story because Shay had the same story, and he confirms. He chickened out when it was time to run away, even though it was his idea, and he turned Pretty right on time. Tally doesn't want to remember last summer. It was a whole mess, but maybe it was worth it to be here now, pretty and popular. He obviously still feels guilty about his chickening out, and she tries to comfort him by saying the smoke was mostly sunburn and bug bites. Like he didn't miss anything, sorry. But he tells her at least she was brave enough to try, and he's glad she's here. And then Zane pulls Tally closer to him, and they kiss. She thinks about how Paris had warned her about sex, and if you weren't careful, you could fall in love with the first Pretty you kissed. But maybe it was time she started kissing other Pretties, and she liked this kiss after the crazy events of the last 24 hours. They pull apart after a long moment, and Tally whispered, David.
I had to put the book down for 3 hours. I literally could not,
Why?
Because this is...
because of the love triangle thing?
Well, no, because just the worst secondhand embarrassment. I would be so embarrassed. If this happened to me,
oh my God,
I would never recover. I would quit the Crims.
Which is so funny because Zane just kind of moves on really fast from it.
I
would quit the Crims.
I would quit the Crims.
She's like, David. Oh, I'm sorry, Zane. I'm out of here.
I'm going to have to quit. I think I wouldn't even say anything about quitting in the moment. I'd have to send a ping. I would just never recover. I would never recover. This would not be, I'd join the hot airs and never be seen from again.
Join the hot airs.
I would never be seen from it again. This would never be a thing I could recover from.
Oh my gosh. If you've ever done that, write in and let us know.
When it happens, like it'll happen in like reality shows. It'll happen like in, just regular TV shows. And it never fails to make my skin crawl.
Oh, gosh.
Never ever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst thing. I could not imagine. If I said someone fictional, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But if I said something like another person's real name.
You're having sex with your husband and you're saying Azrael.
It's
fine. He's into it.
I would not. I wouldn't even feel embarrassed. Like I'd be like, yeah,
just go with it. Okay.
But if I said like someone's real name,
yeah, that's
like a real person
that's hard.
that we knew. Could you imagine?
No.
Oh my God.
No, I can't imagine. I don't want to. I won't.
That's the worst thing. Or an ex-boyfriend. Like that's basically what happened right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Okay.
it makes me want to vomit. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, chapter 6, bubbly making. So Tally had just whispered David after her and Zane kissed. Tally's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just said the name David. But it triggers a memory for Zane. He remembers David is the name of the guy that they met in the Rusty Ruins. Zane asks Tally to tell him about David, and she remembers him now. She says she never met him in the Rusty Ruins, only at the smoke, but it's like super fuzzy. She remembers kissing him, but doesn't know what happened to him like after the smoke went down. She goes to eat something from the breakfast tray, but Zane says, no, don't eat. Take these calorie purgers instead. He tells her that hunger and excitement clears the mind, and kissing someone, that works good too. And she's like, but I'm still hungry. Like, I don't need these. And he says, please, I need to talk to you while you're bubbly. I've been waiting for someone like you, Tally. It was hard to resist Zane when he was like this, so she took the calorie purgers. After a minute, her heart sped up, her vision cleared, and she felt as if a thin film of plastic between her and the rest of the world were being peeled away. She remembers and tells him that after the specials attacked the smoke, the survivors hid out in the ruins. And he's like, oh, the new smoke, right? And she's like, yeah, how'd you know that? Like, weren't you pretty like at that time? And he's like, you think you're the only brand new pretty I ever got to tell me stories, Tallywa?
The nicknames are actually killing my soul. I hate. What is that? What is that?
I don't know. Because it's only Wa and La. It's not like anything else.
And how do you determine? Like, why am I not Kylie La?
Because it's not smooth.
I like it. It's such a thing. The other thing I've been kind of wondering too is since they have sex a lot. I'm sorry, this is super off topic, but I can't help but think about this. If they have sex all the time, which by the way is kind of icky considering they're 16, I just can't. But I can't help it because they talk about sex. What do they do for protection? I wonder. Like this is an advanced civilization, so I wonder if they have advanced birth control.
I wonder if like they just can't have kids until
they have the second operation.
Yeah, or something like that. Or like they go to the doctors and be like, okay, we're in a relationship, like we're ready.
That's so interesting because they do talk about population control. So there has to be something about that.
Oh, that is really interesting. I never thought about it.
Okay, sorry. That was really off base. But I was just, since they talked about how like sex is a big thing for pretties.
Yeah.
I'm like, wonder what they do because they're 16. They're going to get caught up in passion.
Right,
so they're falling in love with the first person they're kissing. They're probably having a ton of sex.
Yeah. But not a ton of babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We never find out as far as I know.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't a priority for Scott Westerfeld.
But Tally is thinking like, how many times has he kissed a new pretty to get stories out of them? And is that what he's doing to me right now? Tally can't remember why she came back to the city and asks Zane, why can't I remember? Is there something wrong with me? He tells her every pretty has trouble recalling their ugly days, but you have to keep telling your ugly stories and stay bubbly to help preserve the memories. Zane doesn't know why he's so different, why he knows to remember. And it was getting tough until Tally showed up. And she asks why he kissed her, just to stay bubbly. And he kissed her again, which was totally oxygen missing and bubbly. That kiss made her remember that Croy had left her something in Valentino 317. Chapter 7, Valentino 317. Zane leaves his and Tally's interface rings on a tall reed so they won't be tracked and they'll sway in the wind and look like they're moving around because the city was always keeping tabs on Zane. And Tally says, won't it look weird if we're not moving much? And he laughs and says, well, it is a pleasure garden. I've spent my fair share of time in here.
Why did he say that?
Why he keeps doing that?
Do you know what? I bet he said that because she just said David after they kissed. Because I would totally do like a little bit of a jab.
Yeah, maybe, but he really didn't react to the David comment at all.
Sure, but because it made her, because they have something. Like if David was like a nobody to both of them, like I think he would have. But he's been trying so hard to stay bubbly and figure out his memories that that's just a priority right now.
Yeah, it's just too important.
Yeah.
But this comment hurts her a little bit, but she doesn't let it show. They talk about how the Valentino is a tricky place to hide a message because it's old and its walls are dumb. The city can't listen through them like they can in other mansions. When they get to Valentino, it's still trash from the party from the night before. It had probably only recently ended. And it feels like their party's gone till like 5 p.m.
Yeah,
And then
I think so. Well, we talked about this. They have no responsibilities.
Yeah,
so it's like
party all the time.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
party to the early morning, and then they wake up probably at 1. Then they get ready for the next party of the day. Yeah.
Wow. Having no interface ring on reminded Tally of her ugly days, and the fear of being caught tricking kept her bubbly. They walk up to the 3rd floor, and there is no room 317. They double and triple check. They have a puzzle to solve, and Tally asks if he thinks their breakfast is still warm. She's like, do you think breakfast is still warm? Because, like, I'm super hungry. And he kisses her again to keep her bubbly, and he's like, please stay with me. Like, don't think about food.
Please.
This works, and they think the elevator between 315 and 319 must be what Croy meant by 317. They can't get into the elevator without their interface rings, but Tally remembers they could climb down the elevator shaft from the roof to get it, like she did that one time when she broke into special circumstances. You remember? They literally have to climb out of a nearby window and haul themselves onto the roof, which was easy in hindsight, but scary and super bubbly, making Tally could see like every twig on the ground.
It was easy? I did not get that as easy.
In hindsight.
Yeah.
She was like really scared, but like Zane popped himself up really quick and she
That's
was like
true.
scared, but then he like yanked her up and it was fine.
That would paralyze you. I couldn't do it.
Just climbing out the window.
Tally is something else.
Yeah, she really is. Zane tells Tally it's true that he had been waiting for a girl like her because she climbed up onto the roof. They see a small metal shack right above the elevator shaft that someone had scratched Valentino 317 into. It's padlocked shut, and Tally remembers that padlocks need keys, and she explains to Zane that a key is a flat piece of metal the size of their thumbs with teeth, because he's like, oh, like a password? Like a key? She's like, no, it's physical. She's getting frustrated at another stupid test Croy is putting her through, and Zane says maybe it has to be tricky to figure out. Maybe they want us clear-headed when we find it. Okay, so what's trickier than climbing up here onto the roof? There's a 20-story high transmission tower on the roof, and Tally thinks the key has to be up there. Now, this is the scary part.
Yeah, this is an absolutely insane thing to do. And I'll be honest, if I was Tally, I would be, even if I was clear-headed, I'd be irritated. I'd be like, I'm not doing it. Fuck you.
Yeah,
This is super. Like,
sorry, staying pretty.
How are you seriously going to make me do all this? Like, this is so insane.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I remember being so pissed off reading this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah, because it's also dangerous because
she could have died.
yeah, and she almost does, but like also because she's pretty and dumb, like it would have been less dangerous for her as an ugly, I feel like, to do it.
Yeah, well, because she probably would have had like a hoverboard and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's how they got it up there.
Yeah.
But like she's having to climb it with her bare fucking hands. Like that's literally insanity.
It is crazy. She didn't wear the right shoes.
Ugh.
Chapter 8, The High Tower. Zane is not excited for the climb, but Tally thinks it's up there. They can't remember how to trick her hoverboard's minders, and climbing would be bubblier anyway, so climbing it is. So they thought about using a hoverboard, but they're like, I don't know how to get one up here. I'm so
First of all,
dumb.
they'd have to requisition one from the wall.
Yeah.
And that takes like a while to like approve.
Yeah.
And then also then they would have to trick it. So
Which
like
they don't remember how to do.
it would have probably taken a couple days. So that
Yeah.
they didn't have another choice.
Yeah. It's just funny
That's
that they thought about it.
crazy.
The start of the climb was easy peasy lemon squeezy, but the higher they climbed, the narrower the tower became and the handholds more slippery, and they were like cables crowding it, so the handholds became less easy to spot. And the drop is getting more panic making. She also wonders how long before they're caught, as they can see the whole city from up there. Because remember, I feel like we talked about this a little bit, but the buildings aren't higher than 3 stories.
Yeah.
This one's 317, so that's the
3 stories.
3 stories.
Yeah.
And this one's 20 stories higher.
Well, the
tower.
The tower is, yeah.
Yeah. She starts to doubt if the key is actually up here. Yesterday, all I wanted was to be a crim, and today I'm doing this? Why? Distracted, Tally's foot slips and she falls off and like is actively falling off. She's free falling. Her instincts tell her to relax, but she doesn't have a crash bracelet on or bungee jacket, and her pretty reflexes take over and she grabs onto a braided cable which burns her hands, and she takes the impact on her hip. She steadies herself and is so bubbly, so beyond bubbly, like before the operation, she remembers why she's doing this. She wants this clarity all the time. She climbs back up and sees Zane was more scared of her fall than she was. But she's so bubbly, she climbs past him really fast, reaches the top, finds the key immediately, climbs all the way down before Zane even moved a muscle, and he was still so shocked. He's still halfway up when she gets down, so she opens the padlock without him. It was funny.
This is gonna sound so bad, and I know it is, and I don't care. I think it might have been easier for everyone if she would have just
Oh my gosh.
if hindsight's here's why, right? Like they're going through this entire thing. I guess she was like the test for the cure.
Yeah.
But like everyone goes out of their way for like the one person, this one girl. And it happens in every fucking series like this where everyone's just like, she's it. Everyone, we're going to wait for it. We're doing this for her. We're doing that for her. And it just creates all these complications, all these things. And like, I appreciate Tally, but like, I kind of also wanted Croy to eat it because why the fuck would you put the key at the top of a 20-story tower?
You could have put it in the shack. It would have been fine.
Just the whole thing was just driving me crazy. This whole thing was just driving me crazy.
Yeah, and these scenes are kind of drawn out.
Yeah, they kind of are. They are. Yeah, I agree.
Inside the shack, the walls are covered in graffiti, the names of couples and dates written in Rusty style. On the floor was old spray paint cans, nano glue tubes, burnt out fireworks, and even a cigarette. This place was so old and so forgotten. It reminds me of the room of requirement from Harry Potter. Like when he had to go hide something. It's just full of like trash. Tally finds a leather pouch and inside is a piece of paper and 2 white pills fall to the ground. Zane finally catches up and is like, gee, thanks for waiting, and takes the paper while she looks for the pills. The pills are distantly familiar to Tally, and Zane says the sheet of paper is a letter. And she's like, a letter? From who? And he says, from you, Tally. From you, for you, and all about you.
Oh, cute.
That's where I'm at.
Chapter 9, note to self. The letter explains to future Tally that the Smokies suspect the pretty surgery causes you to forget things from your past. Past Tally writes the surgery adds lesions to your brain, but that the Smokies have developed a cure. She also writes that David had to kidnap her. Future Tally.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah. She's like, I'm so
David.
sorry. David had to kidnap you. Like, trust him. He's fine. Just take it and like everything will be okay.
Yeah.
But since that hasn't happened, Zane and Tally realize that there has been a change of plans.
Yeah.
Tally remembers that she and David were romantically involved, but struggles to remember anything beyond that. In the letter, past Tally writes that she is giving her informed consent to take the untested drug despite its potential side effects, which is like literal brain missing.
Yeah, like your brain melts away.
Like not even like the sarcastic thing. Yeah. Tally begins to panic as Zane realizes that past Tally willingly gave herself up to the specials so the Smokies could test the drug. Tally points out that it was the old version of her that agreed to test the drug, and Zane offers to take it in her place. Okay, so at this point, hover cars are landing because when they were climbing the tower,
They were spotted.
they were spotted by quite a few people.
Yeah.
They could literally see uglies pointing up to them from Uglyville.
Wow.
While they were climbing.
Yeah, there was like littlies playing soccer over there.
Yeah, exactly. So hover cars are landing because they're like, why the fuck is someone climbing a 20-story tower?
Yeah.
On the roof, and Zane starts to eat the letter.
He's like, we got to get rid of this evidence.
Hiding the evidence before locking the two of them inside the shack to give them some time. But the thing is, Tally realizes that it's special circumstances on the outside, and she feels conflicted about whether to take the pills, freezing when she almost puts them in her mouth. She, at this point, talks about how special circumstances, we talked about this a little bit in the Uglies when we did the podcast, that she did mention at this point that special circumstances is engineered to be stronger than any athlete that has ever been or ever was. Yeah. So they're locked into this little shack where she's like, okay, that's going to buy us like maybe 0.5 of a second.
Like a half a second.
It's like literally not going to buy us all that much time, but it's fine. We're locked in here. She looks at Zane and she's like, let's take this together. Will you do this with me? I can't do this alone. And so they split the pills.
Not good.
Yeah. And then the two of them kiss as the specials enter.
To make it look like they're just making out.
They should have gotten more into it, if I'm honest. If it would have been me, I'd have been like, lay down, take your pants off.
Why?
Because why else would they lock themselves in like that? Like, you had to really commit to the bit.
They did. They were kissing. Maybe they just got there.
Kissing is not committing
we went up
to any
tower.
bit.
We came down. We started making out. That's what happened.
I would have committed harder to the bit.
Committed harder than the bit asked for.
Far harder. Especially for Zane. Committed harder than the bit required. Part 2, the cure. Chapter 10, Breakthrough. Time passes and winter arrives so fast. Tally makes her hand cold by pressing it to the window and then presses it up against Zane's face to wake him up, which is very annoying. I would literally be like, fuck you. He turns off the lights as he wakes, making Tally worry about his new chronic headaches that he's been getting.
No. How long has it been?
And not even headaches, migraines, by the way.
Migraines.
Like, this isn't
Not
just a
good.
casual headache. I think it's been about a month. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. They've been hanging out all the time since the Valentino 317 thing.
I think that she says that they have not spent a night without each other.
Oh my God.
So like they've been spending the night in, I think, his room.
Does he live in Valentino?
No, I don't think so. But that's crazy. So
yeah, that's like a totally super fast relationship.
It's a very fast relationship.
Yeah, they're like,
where they can't even okay. As Tally tries to get Zane out of bed, she examines her interface cuff, which has no seams and no way of removing it. Ooh. She notes that it gets looser every day and implies that she and Zane have not been eating in order to get the cuffs off. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they place these on her and him right after they climb the tower. And they're basically like interface rings that they have on all the time.
They can't take them off. Yeah, so it's like a permanent interface ring.
It's a permanent interface ring. And they also have special ping abilities, which means that they're constantly listening. So the interface rings don't have that. They really are only meant to be like location, like rings.
Yeah.
But that specifically has the basically like a Siri feature.
Being monitored at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
Actively.
Tally asks for coffee and presses her cold hand to Zane's chest, which is such a dick move.
So
finally waking him up. Tally has the wall make their ice skating clothes and takes Zane his coffee. The two get dressed and get up, and it is only when they are outside that they wrap their cuffs in layers of clothing to muffle their voices and talk about important matters.
Yeah, they don't talk about anything inside their room ever.
No, because of the walls.
Yeah.
Because the walls are talking.
They're listening.
They're listening. And talking. They talk too.
Yeah.
The walls communicate. It has been it has been a month since taking the experimental pills.
You knew.
Yeah. The morning she and Zane took the pills, the specialists interrogated them and collected evidence. When Tally ate breakfast, her bubbliness wore off and she was taken to a hospital to have the scar above her eye removed. Bummer. And she was fitted with her interface cuff then. When Zane woke up the next day, he also had one.
Dang.
Yeah.
They're tricky.
I don't know when, that was crazy. However, Tally and Zane's climb of the tower made them very popular amongst all of the other new pretties.
They're so famous.
Everyone's been wanting to join the Crims. The two arrive at the floating ice rink, which hovers hundreds of feet above the sports arena. I am dying to know what sports that they're playing. I think it's soccer.
Soccer.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. The other Crims are putting on their gear. Tally and Shay greet each other, as do Tally and Paris. A lot of the Crims have started going by their nicknames from their ugly days. Another way in which Tally and Zane are trying to help the pretties clear their minds. That would suck. Oh, we had a comment on TikTok. What do you think your ugly name would be?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bash myself.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll bash myself. When I was 15, I think my ugly name would have been probably Fatty.
Mine probably would have been Four Eyes, because I've honestly been called that before. Because I had glasses from kindergarten until 3 years ago. Yes, of course I have. I had glasses.
Glasses are like a hot thing, I thought. Glasses were like all the rage.
Not my glasses.
Well, I guess it was in college. What kind of glasses did you have?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
You know what I mean? I go out. They ask me to pick out frames and I can't see anything because I don't have my glasses on. So I'm picking. Oh, you know when I try on frames, I can't see myself.
I had no idea you had glasses. I've stalked you on Facebook. I had no idea you had glasses.
Oh, that's weird.
Did you delete all your pictures with glasses?
No, they're out there.
Maybe I just didn't even notice.
I got LASIK 2 years ago.
Maybe I just didn't even notice because literally I would never. That's crazy.
You would never what?
Just wouldn't have like
thought that I had shitty eyes.
I just didn't think that like that wouldn't be something that I'd be like, oh yeah, that's ugly.
Oh, you have glasses. You're not my friend.
That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, 4 eyes or let's see what else.
Let's see what else.
Something on my teeth. Somebody said I had like rabbit teeth.
What?
Like large front teeth,
It's
like Hermione Granger.
That's actually crazy
And
to
offered
think
me a
about how
carrot.
other.
I'm dead serious.
Oh my god!
Fuck that guy.
That is actually insane.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I don't know, and it was all out of nowhere. Like people don't talk to me like that, so I was like,
That is crazy. That is so mean. It is insane too because that is not something that like I have no, like your teeth are. I have no idea what they're talking about.
right. So
That
rude.
is insane. It's crazy to see like what other people like their perception.
Yeah, in you.
Like when you have your own like insecurities, like that would maybe other people would think that I'm like ugly in different ways that I would think that I'm ugly.
Right.
You
You're
know
like,
what
well,
I'm
I never
saying?
thought of that. Like I hate this about myself, but I love what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I actually really liked
Yeah.
my teeth or something.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I guess my biggest insecurity has always been my weight, so I would probably say fatty.
Yeah.
But I don't know how other people. No one's ever insulted me to my face about my looks. I suppose not to my face anyway. So I guess I wouldn't know how the public would perceive my like their ugly feature. Of me.
Yeah. It's not a fun topic. I've never forgot. That was like in the
Yeah, I wouldn't forget that either. The only insult that I've ever gotten
10th grade.
The only insult I've ever gotten to my face, like not to my face, but like to me, I remember I posted a singing video. I like to sing, but
Oh yeah.
I do it all very. Did I tell you about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
this is a
bad.
story. I posted a singing video. I like to sing, but I don't ever do it in public because I have really bad. What is it called? Like stage fright.
Yeah.
And so I finally got up the courage to post a couple things like up on Instagram and TikTok. No, it was just Instagram. And a guy from my school, I was like way out of high school, by the way, but this was a guy from my high school, meant to send it to, I guess, probably someone else who knows us from high school, and like messaged him and was like, her voice isn't actually that bad, but she just looks so fucking awkward or awful when she sings. Like something about like the way that I look when I sing was like very uncomfortable.
And he sent that to you.
And he sent it to me. So
Oh no.
I deleted everything and I have never posted a singing video ever again.
No. I hate that because you have a wonderful singing voice.
No, it's fine. It's not like I'm never gonna make a career. It's not like it's that big of a deal. But
You could.
But it definitely no. But
Why not?
do you know how, that's like the equivalent. I've always been realistic.
No,
Acting,
it'd be
singing,
hard.
any of those things, that's about as realistic as becoming like a professional, like a NBA player. I'm a
it'd
woman.
be hard. It'd be really hard.
That's
You could
being an
probably
NBA player as a woman.
You're tall enough.
Not for the NBA, not for the
Really?
men's NBA.
Not for the men's NBA.
But that's what my point is.
Oh, it's impossible to join the men's NBA as a woman. Got it. I'm there. She's a Pete's.
This is so funny. I'm obsessed.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, yes, that but the carrot thing I think is worse. I'm sorry.
It is. Fuck that guy.
Because he meant to
My
say
teeth
it
are
to you
fine.
too. Your teeth
No,
are
it's literally like no
so
one's ever
fine.
said anything about my teeth before, so I was like, I didn't even register it until
Your
like
teeth
days
are
later.
literally
Like, oh my
so
god.
They're like so even. Like I genuinely don't get it. But that's
Oh my gosh, I went through fucking years of braces and palate expanders and spacers. Fuck you.
yeah, fuck that guy. Let's find it.
Yeah.
Let's name drop. What's his name? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Do it.
No. I don't even remember his last name. Remember his first name.
I actually don't remember my guy. My
guy.
My guy is it
My
was also
bully.
it was also
My
a guy.
online bully.
It was also a guy.
Jeez.
Men.
Fuck you.
Many of the crims have facial tattoos.
Anyways, getting back into it.
Back into it. Many of the Crims have facial tattoos that move in time with their heartbeats, allowing their moods to be easily determined and to be able to determine when they're bubbly. Paris and Tally talk quietly of the new Smokey's absence, as they have not been heard from since Croy gave Tally the pills. The group skates, waiting for the soccer game below to begin. Tally tries to comfort Zane as the fireworks begin beneath them, signaling the start of the game, because he is like, we need the fuck to get out of here. Like, I'm over this. Like, seriously,
like,
you know.
Out of where? Out of New Pretty Town?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like very, you know,
I know
what's the word? Not jittery, anxious.
Yeah,
to get
anxious,
out.
Yeah.
He's like,
to leave the city.
We need to leave yesterday.
Yeah.
But they can't, obviously, because of their cuffs. Tally skates to the center of the ring and gathers the other Crims around her. They remove the flasks from their coats filled with hard liquor, pouring it onto the ice as Zane does laps around the rinks, gaining speed. That is crazy. So, as you remember, I talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Zane was the one who originally told her that alcohol has a lower freezing temperature. The liquid affects the ice, and as the fireworks continue going off beneath them, Tally signals to Zane. The group parts for him, and he jumps, throwing his body weight onto the weakened ice and causes the rink to shatter.
I wish he would have done like a triple sow cow.
Yeah, no, a triple sow cow for sure.
Really cool ice skating twirl. I don't know if that's what it's actually called.
It sounds right.
Okay.
I actually don't know if it sounds right, but I've heard of a sow cow.
Okay. Also, the floating rink, it sounds really cool, and I want to see it.
Yeah, no, I do too. I wouldn't want to skate on it, but same. By the way, when they go on this floating rink, they always have bungee jackets on.
Yes.
Because just in case anything like that were to happen, because it does float hundreds of feet in the air.
Yeah, it's a fail-safe, and it's very smart of the engineers.
100%. The Crims fall, and Tally sees the shocked faces of everyone at the soccer game staring up as they plummeted to the ground. Chapter 11. Bounce.
Bounce, women.
Tally,
bounce,
jump with it. Ring with it, rock with it, snap with it. All my ladies, arch your backs with it. Tally and the Crims plummet through the grand finale of the fireworks display. Their bungee jackets activate in time for them to land safely, like bouncing all over the goddamn place.
Yeah, just scattering.
And it's crazy too, because this is super dangerous, because from my understanding, they literally are falling right as the finale of the fireworks are going off. So all these, right? So all of these like dangerous fireworks are exploding. I'm surprised someone didn't get hurt. Yeah, I really am.
Yeah.
That was
just like a burn or something.
Something.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it's fireworks are explosive.
They're very scary. I stay away from fireworks. Like if I'm at a party and people are setting them off, like I'm out.
I agree. Like fireworks can kill. They have killed.
Yeah, they did this year.
Yeah. Tally runs through the group, making sure that no one is hurt, and eventually reaches Zane. Their trick had two goals. The first was to let the new Smokies know that the pills had worked, and that the second was to clear their friends' heads permanently from the lesions.
It didn't work.
Keeping it bubbly forever, basically. Wardens arrive and cameras broadcast the wreckage. Tally, suddenly nervous that someone will discover they planned the rink's destruction, runs to Zane and embraces him. And he fell into like the soccer goal.
Oh yeah, he's like,
and he got up and he was like, "Fuck yeah,
goal!"
Oh yeah, he said goal. That's what he said. Was it fuck yeah?
Close enough.
You know what? It had the same energy.
Yes,
it was giving
exactly.
fuck yeah energy.
That's right.
Chapter 12, Party Crash. The Crims get together and party, drinking and retelling the stories of their fall around a bonfire. Again, burning shit. Which Tally had this big old ass motherfucking problem with when they were in the smoke.
And then the Pretties do it all willy-nilly.
And she's like, this is great.
Maybe they're not burning wood. Maybe they're burning synthetic wood. I just blew your mind.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
No, that's fair. Maybe
are.
there is some sort of synthetic.
Insert
So
big
maybe
word
there
here.
is some sort of synthetic wood in the future. There has to be something like that.
Right.
But they do, each person they talked about has specific levels of carbon emission that they can, like, that they can use or whatever, like monthly.
Because didn't it take Paris and Fausto, like they had to use like 4 months worth of some sort of credit for the fire, for the
bonfire.
costume? Oh, it was for the bonfire.
It was for the bonfire. They said
right.
that the Smokies altogether probably used up a month's worth of their carbon emissions.
That's right. They had to like bank all of their.
They had to have they were on loan.
Insert big word here. Yes.
Yeah, they were on loan for sure.
Yeah.
How do you even apply for carbon emissions? That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Tally and the Crims all pretend to be vapid. Tally recognizes new intelligence and clear-headedness amongst the group. Zane approaches Tally and she reflects on the fact that engineers haven't been able to detect what caused the collapse. Such a good plan. They speak in code about sharing the pretty-minded cure. And it's so obvious, and I'm surprised that no one has caught on, even though they're talking in code and in their like bubbly-minded, like, you know, pretty making slang.
Yeah, they should have all.
It felt like
specials are not doing their job.
No, specials are clear. Specials are bubbly all the time.
Yeah,
so they should be able to have deciphered.
Well,
this.
and their whole job is to like track down the smoke and to stop Pretties from thinking like that.
Yeah, so they should have been kind of keeping track of.
And they
Shay
were
and Tally and everyone regardless.
Exactly.
I agree. Zane's worked instantly but gives him migraines. Tally's is slower to work and she still struggles in the morning to stay bubbly. Zane expresses his frustration about their interface cuffs and is then struck by a headache. Tally recommends a doctor, but Zane is afraid that the doctors will see his lesions are gone and put them back. Tally escorts Zane back to his dorm, but he sends her back to the party to make sure that the other Crims don't get too drunk and start yip-yapping and bapping about the skating rink collapse.
They're like, do you remember when we poured all that vodka on the skating rink and we busted through and fell down?
But do you know what, though? Like, honestly, like, that's a legit fear for 16-year-olds that just did this huge crime.
Oh, for sure. They're going to talk about it.
Yeah, you know.
In terms, like, it was months ago, but it just happened.
100%, especially, like, with a bunch of champagne. Because they are a gang.
Yeah, they are a gang. Remember, they commit crimes.
So just to remind everyone, they are a gang. Tally walks back to the party worrying about Zane's well-being. She knows that finding the new smoke is the only way to help Zane, but they haven't been contacted yet, and she feels trapped by their interface cuffs. Before she reaches the party, a voice calls out to her from the darkness of the woods.
Where they're at.
Of the garden.
Having the bonfire.
Yeah. Of the
pleasure garden.
Of the pleasure garden. Tally pretends to be pretty-minded, but a figure steps out into the walkway, revealing herself to be Dr. Cable.
She's back.
Of Special Circumstances from The Uglies, Part 1 and 2.
Do you remember it?
Yeah. She was a villain. Chapter 13. Guess what the title of this one is?
Dr. Cable.
No, the dragon.
Why would you make me guess that? It was a hard one.
I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting to try it. See if maybe the dragon. But that's actually very a good guess because technically it's about Dr. Cable is supposed to represent the dragon.
Oh, I was so close.
You were actually.
Oh, the dragon in her dream.
In her dream
is Dr. Cable.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm stupid.
Well,
just put that together.
I didn't realize surge meant surgery, so we'll just move on.
Okay.
Tally pretends not to know Dr. Cable while experiencing flashbacks from when she was still ugly. Bummer. Dr. Cable confronts Tally about the ice arena accident, which she very clearly does not think is an accident.
Right.
Tally acts as if she is still pretty-minded, claiming that it must have been the fireworks that caused the ice to break. Had to have raised the temperature of the ice rink.
There you go.
Dr. Cable accuses Tally of having something to do with it, but says that she does not want to get Tally in trouble. Dr. Cable compliments Tally and her resistance to becoming pretty-minded. The woman then reveals that in addition to making people feel dull, the doctors at Special Circumstances can make them feel clear-headed and razor-sharp.
Nice.
Dr. Cable offers that feeling to Tally, inviting her to join the specials.
Oh, she's so smart.
Tally asks Dr. Cable what she was like as an ugly and guesses that Dr. Cable was tricky.
Just like her.
Mm-hmm. And that she would sneak out of Uglyville and like, just
the whole 9 yards.
Go to the Rusty Ruins, and
she joined the smoke for a period.
Maybe even joined the smoke for the period. Maybe even left like town.
Maybe she skipped town.
Maybe she skipped town. But Dr. Cable does confirm this. She said that she had left town for a little bit.
Oh,
and came back.
She went to the smoke.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she says that that's what special circumstances does. They watch tricky uglies to see who they can later recruit. The whole place is designed, not the whole place, but Uglyville and like the rules or whatever are designed to see kind of who would be a good special.
Yeah, I love that so much.
I feel like the whole place is a test to see like where they would fit anyone for any of their careers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I can see that for sure.
She then reveals that the brain lesions are meant to prevent people from becoming too much like the Rusties, who destroyed the world.
The Rusties.
The Rusties. I like saying it with like a little bit of flair. Being content and thoughtless prevents people from working too hard and taking too much and being violent. Tally has an outburst yelling at Dr. Cable that she doesn't want any of this. Dr. Cable tries to calm her and asks Tally to consider her offer, noting that she also has an interest in Zane joining the specials.
Oh, she's like, if you can't beat him, join him.
But do you know what? Dr. Cable implies that Zane betrayed the Smokies before she leaves. Okay, so this is the thing, right? When she explains it, right? Like, I have a quote from it.
Oh.
And why she joined the specials, like what the specials are for, like why the brain lesions are supposed to
Dr. Cable did?
Yeah, like for Dr. Cable and like what her like thought process is on why the lesions are a good thing. And she says, left alone, human beings are a plague. They multiply relentlessly, consume every resource, destroy everything they touch. Without the operation, human beings always become Rusties. So, you know what? Like, and I'll be honest, like that is so fucking true.
That's such a good villain.
It's such a good villain.
Such a good villain.
Oh my God. Okay. So Dr. Cable is like she's such a good villain.
Yeah. Cause her point is valid. Like it makes sense why she believes in it and why they do it.
And honestly, like I can see it. I can see it because, it's hard to understand living in a world where everything is very easy.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And safe and like there's no violence. But when you're living in a world like the way that we do now, right? Where there's so much violence against minorities and women and like all sorts of different things. It's like, dude, I can understand why brain lesions were started to be given out.
Yeah. You get a brain lesion. You
get a brain lesion. You get a brain lesion. It's obviously not like the right idea. Like you want people to have a choice, but at the end of the day, like when your choices affect the general population and like are killing and maiming and murdering and raping and whatever people all over the place, maybe like taking some of those choices away and giving people just like an easier life is like not such a bad thing.
Yes, it's so interesting.
I can 100% like relate to this. Like I think this is a fair thing.
Yeah, it's not black and white. It's very gray. It's
gray all over. Chapter 14.
Chapter 14. Break up.
Chapter 14.
Yeah. We're almost done. Okay. It's called Breakup. Tally stumbles back to the party where the bonfire has gotten bigger. She realizes that the Crims are at their bubbliest right now and they're burning trees, which is sending up a column of smoke in the air. They're headed in the same direction as the Rusties. The fire is warm and cheery, but it makes her feel worse. Shay approaches Tally and asks, is Zane okay? You don't look very pretty making right now. Tally says she thought her day went perfect, and Shay said, yeah, until Zane drank too much, because that's what happened, right? Tally, what actually happened when you climbed the transmission tower at Valentino? Tally wishes she could tell Shay the whole truth, but it's too risky to tell anyone about the cure until they were out of the city. So Tally said that climbing the tower and the danger of falling and dying was totally bubbly making.
Yeah.
And Shay's like, yeah, I know, because her and Fausto had climbed the tower at night with no bungee jackets, hoping to make themselves as bubbly as Tally and Zane, but it was kind of disappointing.
Oh.
Shay pesters Tally for the truth. Her and Zane are too coupley. Something else happened. Shay tells Tally she remembers that Tally followed her to the smoke to betray her, and that was after you stole David from me. Crickets.
And that was Tally.
Shay keeps threatening that her bubbliness will be gone and she'll forget everything. And please tell me the truth, Tally. Keep me bubbly. Her flash tattoos are spinning. Then Tally wraps Shay's scarf around her interface cuff and tells her that Croy left her a pill at the Valentino and she took it and it was a cure. And then Tally tries to get Shay to remember her writing the letter that Tally wrote to herself that she transcribed. That she wrote.
That she wrote. You probably get to say wrote.
Tally wrote it, but then also Shay wrote it.
Yeah, Shay wrote it.
She transcribed it.
Is that what that means?
I think so.
When you say something for someone else to write, that's transcribing?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Did you think it meant something else or you just didn't know?
I thought that just meant writing. I'm not joking.
I think that's what it means. Now I'm going to Google it.
No. You are probably right.
Well, you don't know.
Let's think about the what we've had on the record here.
Okay.
But you're probably right.
Transcribing. The process of converting audio or video into written text. So yeah.
So yeah, okay.
So I'm correct. Okay.
No, well, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
I figured.
We weren't arguing. It's not a game. Anyways. So yeah, was that that Shay transcribed, but Shay can't remember much from those first few weeks as a pretty. Those memories were even harder to recall than even her ugly memories. But she tells Shay that she refused the cure as a pretty. Shay had refused. So Tally volunteered to become pretty so she could test the cure, and it worked. And you've seen how it's changed me and Zane. And then that was the wrong thing to say. Shay is absolutely pissed that Tally gave the other pill to Zane and not her best friend. It was Shay that told her about the smoke, introduced her to David and the Crims after becoming pretty. And she accuses Tally of treating Zane like a trick that she could just cross off her list, which is crazy. She's like, of course you would go for the lead, the top guy of the best clique. She's in her her own world right now.
Here's the thing. I can understand Shay
to an extent.
I understand. I was saying that I sent a 17-minute long voice memo.
Literally was 17 minutes broken up into 3 and 4 minutes.
3 and 4 minutes. I'm trying to rationalize to myself why maybe so Shay is reacting the way that she is. I'm gonna try and make a long story short, but basically, from Shay's perspective, she met Tally. She tells her about the smoke. She goes to the smoke. Tally ends up showing up. She likes David. Tally steals David, even though you don't. Here's the thing. I think David, she doesn't give any blame to David. I can understand her being mad at Tally because here's the thing. If my friend, I would put blame on the man, but if my best friend stole my man, that it's game over for me. I'm probably never speaking to that person again.
Yeah.
So I can understand her being mad about that, but then she unreasonably blames Tally for the smoke being raided, which I honestly feel is a guilt mechanism because she feels like it's her fault. Also because she's mad at Tally for, stealing her man. And then she goes to New Pretty Town, introduces Tally to the Crims. Tally then gets with Zane, who is Shay's old, very good friend.
Yeah.
Which is kind of another, not betrayal, but she never asked Shay, if Tally never asked Shay if she was okay with that.
She's not being a good friend to Shay, really.
No, Shay has definitely been a bit of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair to Tally, though, there's so much going on.
A lot happening.
So much going on.
Yeah.
She's trying to save so many different people.
Oh my God.
And her whole reason for being pretty was because of Shay.
Yeah.
Which Shay doesn't really grasp right now. And obviously we know what happened with Zane and Tally when it came to the tower and everything. She didn't have time. She didn't have the opportunity to be I want to give this to Shay. There was no time, no opportunity, nothing.
To not even think about it.
And the only reason she said Zane take the pills is because Zane was there. That's literally the only reason.
If it was another pretty there that would have been I'll have one, she would have split it with them.
Mm-hmm. It could have been anyone else.
Anybody.
So it's definitely unfair, but I can also see how Tally definitely gets into these routines where she meets a guy And the guy kind of becomes her like world, and the friend becomes kind of secondary. And that's what's happened in both situations. I can understand Shay being jealous, like maybe not jealous, upset. But dude, it's a little much. It's like she needs to chill the fuck out.
Yeah,
because
Shay, yeah.
She's trying to indicate to Tally's trying to indicate to Shay that like her cuffs are, being listened to. She's being monitored. And every single situation that every decision that Shay makes is for Shay. She disregards protocol. She disregards safety protocols when it came to the smoke, to this, undermining revolutions. Like, she just doesn't have any like awareness outside of herself. And even though Tally puts her friends on the back burner, her main focus is like the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, Tally literally became Pretty against like her. She didn't want to.
Better judgment. Yeah.
To save Shay.
And everything she's doing at this point is to make everyone else bubbly and to make everyone else okay. And she sacrificed herself for everyone else to have a cure. Like, her thought process goes beyond herself.
Yeah.
Shay's does not.
She's in a small, like her own little bubble.
So she's insufferable.
So to conclude,
she's insufferable.
Shay calls Tally a traitor and selfish. Ugly or pretty, it's who you are.
That's ironic.
Oh, she's shouting so loud. Record scratch. She's shouting so loud, Tally is afraid her cuff will hear. The rest of the party goes silent in shock. Before storming away, Shay angry whispers to Tally that she will always remember this betrayal and always hate her for it. She's maybe overreacting.
She's so
she thinks about how bubbly Shay's anger had made her and how Zane was probably bubbly due to guilt, and Tally's old and ugly emotions had kept her bubbly too. She worries that Shay will find her own way to a cure thanks to every terrible thing Tally had ever done to her. And then she puts together that strong emotions equals bubbliness. Poor Tally.
Poor Tally, because also she blames herself too. Like, that's like Shay's so actions. Crazy. For Shay, she doesn't like blame Shay for 1 second.
Yeah, no, she doesn't.
When Shay dragged her into every single turn that she's had, it's been Shay driving the factor for Tally.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Dude, poor Tally, man. Even though she is a little bit boy crazy.
She really is.
And you know what? Here's what I said about Shay too, right? Like, Tally seems to be a bit more mature because of what she's gone through, but like, let's look at the equivalent to both Shay and Tally and what they've both gone through. And I think that they've both gone through very similar things. If anything, Shay has gone through more because she knew David before Tally. She knew about the smoke before Tally. She had all of these exposures far before Tally. So truly, she should be almost more mature than Tally.
She's so immature.
And she is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
The only thing that she didn't do that Tally did was travel to the smoke alone. That was the only difference.
Yeah.
Everything else they've experienced at the exact same thing.
That's so true.
So
grow up, Shay.
Grow up, Shay.
So grow up, Shay.
So to conclude, grow up, Shay. Nope. Grow up, Shay. Grow up, I said. I agree. Thank you.
Oh, I thought that was going to go on for longer. Okay. Chapter 15, Rain. It has been 2 days since the ice rink collapsed, and it has also been raining relentlessly. Tally and Zane haven't been able to talk about Shay because they can't go outside. Her pings are full. They are the hottest clique in New Pretty Town since pulling off their trick. But the Crims don't need new Crims. They need to stay bubbly, which Tally is worried the rain won't help. Zane's latest headache has left him in a mood, and they both know they need to leave the city soon, but the cuffs are a problem. Someone not wearing an interface ring knocks on their door, and it's Fausto. He doesn't speak because of the listening walls, but just throws down a couple of hoverboards that he'd tricked to be untraceable. Fausto is still bubbly from the breakthrough. That's good.
I'm a little obsessed with Fausto.
I kind of love Fausto.
Yeah, me too.
He's like, they've been stuck in their room for 2 days. They're going to go hoverboarding. I'm going to make it happen.
I actually kind of love Fausto.
Oh.
The more I get to know Fausto, I'm like, Fausto's it. If I was Tally, Fausto would have been it for me.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
He's like unproblematic. He's there.
He's like fun.
He's hot.
What? She needs to get the fuck over herself and date Fausto. Because seriously.
Like, what are you doing?
Spare me.
Look around you.
Yeah.
They get appropriate clothes from the hole in the wall and hoverboard through the rain, which keeps their minds crystal clear. Totally bubbly making. She's racing Zane, and they're banking really hard, and she wonders if this is what it would be like to be special. or a special. The specials don't have lesions, but they looked really crazy. And you had to track down runaway uglies. So that doesn't like sound fun.
No.
And what if being special did something else to your brain? What if it made you obedient? So she's like really contemplating it, but just kind of weighing the pros and cons. She jumps over Zane and comes down too hard, sending them both waist deep into the river. She tries to pull her cuff off again, thinking the water would help, like with the friction. But Zane says, don't bother. The cold makes the metal of the cuff contract. And Tally's like, does that mean heat would make them expand? Question mark, question mark?
That would have been the second I went to go try that.
Right. Well, they got distracted because...
Oh, yeah.
They talk for a second about how they could make the cuffs hot enough to remove without burning their hands off when they spot two uglies watching them from the other side of the river. Chapter 16, Cutters. The Cutters.
The Cutters.
Is really wild. Trigger warning for self-harm.
Yeah. Seriously. That's not funny. I'm sorry.
It's just crazy.
This is insanity.
It is.
Like,
It kind of is. Like when I read this, I was like...
It's not for the reasons you think it is. I mean, I guess
it.
honestly, like
kind of.
If you think about it like metaphorically, it kind of is for the same reasons.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never cut myself. Chapter 16, Cutters. They go to meet the uglies, and it's Sussy and Dex, which is 2/3 of the uglies that had helped Tally with the new smoke lives distraction that Tally and David put together when they were breaking into special circumstances. You remember that?
Yeah, right.
But Tally like needed help remembering. They're like, we're Sussy and Dex, don't you remember? And she's like, remind me. She thought the uglies recognized her from the feeds because she's low-key famous making.
And she knows it, too.
Yeah. Tally is embarrassed because the uglies are in all of them and would do anything her and Zane asked. She feels a weird sense of power and self-conscious. The uglies know the brain lesions rumors are true, though, because Tally really forgot about them. She forgot them. Zane confirms, but says the damage isn't permanent. Sussy and Dex tell them that last night was the first time they saw any evidence the new smoke existed. In the ruins, they found the boss's old magazines at one of the old spots. Long live the boss.
Long live the boss. I miss him so much.
Yeah, he was a great character. Gone too soon. Gone too soon. Pour one out. Pour one out for the boss. But they don't know what it means, and neither do Zane or Tally. It seems the new Smokies notice the Crim's ice rink trick. Then the uglies tell them there are Pretties in Cleopatra Park, which is in Uglyville right now. Maybe not right now, but they have seen Pretties in Cleopatra Park. And Zane and Tally ask to take them there, and they go. They lead them to one of Shay's favorite spots as an ugly that Tally was like, oh my God, this is Shay's favorite spots. And Zane is like, question mark, question mark, question mark. And Tally's like, oh yeah, Shay and I fought. I haven't had a chance to tell you. Tally sends the uglies away, asking them to ping her if they hear anything from the new Smokies. But she obviously, they can't just like write exactly. Yeah, the new Smokies called and they're like looking for you. She's like, tell me that you want to join the Crims and then I'll know.
Yeah. Also, Cleopatra Park.
Cleopatra.
But didn't they say in the uglies that like Cleopatra, like they explained that she definitely was not considered like a natural pretty. Like
maybe
they had said that she was like historically maybe not as beautiful as like
Helen. Maybe that was Zane.
I can't remember who said that. Now I'm like racking my brain, but we read something or I watched something where they said Cleopatra like wasn't. It was really about her like vibe and her.
She just had the vibes.
Yeah, and her confidence and her gusto. Yeah, but like she wasn't like physically.
I've heard that before, but I don't know if that was from this.
Maybe it was from something different. But that is crazy. I'm curious if maybe they. But it would make sense because Cleopatra Park's in Uglyville, right?
Yeah.
So.
But what if you had a park named after you? Because to put in Uglyville.
Well, maybe.
That sucks.
Maybe their historical like landmarks are named after like historic like history like natural famous
or just very influential people.
Yeah, and like
Denzel Washington made it. He's a pleasure garden in New Pretty Town.
Yeah, that's amazing. But that would be interesting. That would be a very interesting thing. If
we got the Valentino. We know he's an actor. I googled it. I just can't remember his last name. So yeah, I think it is there's something
There's
there.
got to be something there with that. Yeah, I'm very interested in that. Cleopatra is an ugly little.
Tally realizes she's out of excuses for telling Zane everything, so she does. She tells him about going undercover for special circumstances and about her and Shay's big fight. Zane had guessed her involvement with how the smoke went down, and she tells him she initially went so she could turn pretty, but then ended up wanting to stay. And Zane understands how manipulated by the city she was, and that they're all manipulated by the city. She also confesses Shay is pissed because Tally told her about the cure. And then Zane's like, what the hell? You told her about the cure? But he's only like mad for like a second. But she explains that Shay is doing dangerous stuff to stay bubbly, and Zane is sympathetic. Zane's glad he got the pill and not Shay, and glad about him and Tally being together. She thinks about how she had lost Paris to pretty headedness. She really, truly did.
She did. He's gone.
She lost Shay when she betrayed Shay. And even David is gone. Half her memories of him are gone, and he couldn't even bother to bring her the pills. But Zane had been there through her transformation from Pretty's head to bubbly, and he was there now. Crazy how that happened, they reflect. And then kiss, and they're like, we should go home. They're cold and wet, and they don't want the powers that be to wonder why they're in Uglyville. Tally tries to tell Zane about Dr. Cable's offer to become special, but is interrupted by a group of people dressed in identical winter gear walking into the park clearing. And Tally instantly recognized Shay as one of them. What the heck? Okay, chapter 17, Ritual. They watch the group of 10 people, a mix of Crims, Shay's old friends, and randoms as they take off their winter gear. Shay is wearing a fake interface cuff, which is really interesting, like as a trend.
Because she still is. Like, that became a trend afterwards because of
Tally and Zane.
Yeah.
it's
And
just interesting that Shay of all people is wearing it.
Is still wearing it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And a weird new surge on her forearm, some sort of raised hash marks. Shay lifts her face up to the rain, arms outstretched, and starts chanting, and it reminds Tally of Rusties praying, which I thought was funny. They realize the random pretties are the wannabe Crims that had been in their inboxes for days. Shay has been recruiting.
In their inboxes. DMing the shit out of us.
Yeah, they really were. Then Shay takes a knife out, and to Tally and Zane's horror, she cuts both her forearms from wrist to elbow. Like, that's such an intense cut.
No, that is actually a very intense cut.
Yeah, and then she like raises her arms like this, and it falls onto her shirt and like is bleeding on her shirt.
That's extremely dangerous.
Crazy. Then starting with Ho, a fellow Crim, and one by one after, they all follow Shay's lead and cut themselves. And each one of them are left looking ecstatic and insane. Tally says this is her fault. She remembers how Shay had admired Tally's scar and what it did to her. And she's going to do that? No. Now Shay has this group of, quote, cutters and her own cure from being a pretty head. Zane gets angry and wants to interrupt their ritual, but is struck down by a headache. And then he stops breathing.
Oh.
Tally is scared and desperate for help, even if it's the cutters' help. She's like yelling and screaming. The cutters had heard her yell. She unwraps her scarf to call for help, like for the wardens, whoever's listening, but Zane stops her. Tally decides to take Zane to the hospital. Not inside, because Zane is like against this, just in case he stops breathing again, which is very fair, Zane. She slings him onto a hoverboard and lays on top of him, riding the board like a surfboard, like before you stand up. He's like on their bellies.
Yeah.
Shay starts walking toward them with ice in her eyes, and Tally takes off really scared. The ride is treacherous. The lifters on the board struggle. They almost dump in the river. They get to the hospital, and Zane is pretty awake and cognizant now. Tally starts crying out of fear for his safety. Like, what the heck is going on with him? He says he's like, I just need breakfast. Tally, it's fine. I just need to eat. It's
not
like
good.
Literally nighttime. She almost says something about the new smoke, and he silences her. Her cuff has been exposed this whole time and has been listening. Zane punches the metal ambulance rack and breaks his hand, giving them the perfect excuse for their wild ride there, and would track with what the cuff might have heard during that time. He walks in, pale and shaking, and Tally resolves she would call the wardens next time he had an attack, because even the cure wasn't worth dying for. Chapter 18, Hospital. Tally is in the waiting room waiting for Zane, and two random pretties, also in the waiting room, notice her and recognize her after she blames her appearance on hoverboarding. She's like, yeah, I was hoverboarding. And they're like, oh my God, you're Tally Youngblood. We know you.
Yeah, the one was like a new pretty, and then the other one was like not as new pretty. So like the one that wasn't as new knew who Tally was just by looks. But the other one's like, who are you? And they're like,
are you kidding me?
Stop talking. That's Tally Youngblood. Like, literally leave her alone. She's a celebrity.
That's so famous making.
It was like such a weird like interaction.
It's crazy how we get these little snippets of how famous she actually is.
It is crazy. She's very famous. No, I don't. Yeah.
You don't really feel it.
Because I don't think she really understands.
She doesn't.
She's just like.
She says like, oh, I guess I'm on the feeds a lot.
She's like just like there for the vibes. And I don't think she understands anything. Everything that happens to her just happens to her.
It's so true. Like Forrest Gump.
So fair.
Tally realizes her criminal notoriety was feeding Shay's little cutter project. And she wonders if trips to the emergency bay will be all the rage after this. They're like, Tally went, I'm going. I'm going to get hurt. Go to the doctor.
Hoverboarding and shit.
Yeah, probably. I bet. A man comes to get her and she thinks Zane is done, but it's a doctor named Dr. Anders and he is a trauma counselor. And she thinks he's concerned about Tally because of the ice rink incident, but he's worried about Shay. He knows about the fight between them at the bonfire and Pretties don't fight.
No.
They don't fight. Tally acts like a typical Pretty saying like, yeah, we were both drunk. Oh my God, are you spying on us? That's totally bogus. He says they are interested in everyone who suffered the trauma of the accident, young lady. And he kind of gives her an excuse for her fight with Shay, saying stress from the fall could be the reason that they fought. He asks what the fight was about, and he's obviously prying, but she says it was just stuff, like old ugly stuff from the ugly days. And they've been fine since then. And then he like kind of looks like into the distance, like obviously reading an eye screen that nobody else can see. And he knows that they haven't talked in like 3 days, but he seems to be glad to hear that they are BFFs.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just accepts the lie.
Yeah.
She promises to feed Zane the cookies in the waiting room because his blood sugar was low and they're too skinny, both of them, and he lets her go. Zane is released and Tally tells him about her convo with the doctor. And then Zane tells her that his visit with his doctor was good. They lectured him about eating more. And then he was only unconscious for like 10 minutes while they stitched his bones up. Gross. But they didn't look at his head, so who knows if he's actually okay. Like, don't get too excited.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to talk about his headaches. He gets really irritable. He's more worried about Shay. They have to tell her to lay off the cutting. She's about to get caught, and then all hell will break loose. Tally has to convince Shay to leave with them tonight. Zane has a plan to get the interface cuffs off, and they have to leave right after. He doesn't tell Tally his plan, but she knows they have tried everything and nothing has worked. So it's a little scary making, but they're running out of time and options. And that's the end of the chapter. So it's going to pick up.
I do feel for Zane though, and I understand why he doesn't want, like, he's like so desperate, obviously, not to be found out that he doesn't have the lesions.
Yeah.
And I so understand it because they mentioned that he started the crims.
He really did.
He actually did because he was remembering, what was it? Like he noticed that he was forgetting memories.
Yeah.
From when he was like an ugly and like those things weren't coming back to him as well. And he started asking around and he found out that once you got to the deeper root of it, that it wasn't that people didn't want to talk about their ugly days. It's literally that they didn't remember.
Yes.
And
he's so smart.
And he realized that doing these risky things gave you clarity to be able to remember those days. And that's why he started the crims. Like that was his whole purpose for starting the crims.
Yeah.
And finally he has the clarity that he's been like desperate for months and months and months
because of Tally. And
it can be, he started the crims before Tally though.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
but yes, you're right. Yes, he got the cure because of her. Yes. Yeah. And he doesn't want to go back. He's done all this hard work. He's done research on research. And now
he's probably terrified to get the lesions again because then it would take months and months again if it ever happened again.
Yeah.
He could forget. They could make him forget.
Yeah, and he could be like pretty headed forever.
Yeah.
I like don't misunderstand him. I'd probably rather die than go through all of it again too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the options right now. Yeah. It's like die or go through this again.
Very like, we got to do this now. Here's the plan. So yeah, next week we're going to be finishing up this book and figure out what his plan actually is. And it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
His plan was actually really crazy. And Tally's like, that's actually insane. Here's a better plan.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Do you think the ending of the book was as a happy ending?
Of this one?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, it's not a happy ending, but it's actually really sad.
It's a horrible ending.
It's actually really sad.
It's a horrible ending.
But it's so good. So we'll see when we get there. What's your quote of the week?
So it is the left alone human beings are a plague. They multiply relentlessly, consume every resource, destroying everything they touch. Without the operation, human beings always become Rusties. I like this because typically when you're in a book, okay, like ACOTAR or like Cersei or, even really like Bridgerton, there's a villain and then there's a hero, and it's so clear what side people are on. You know? The King of Highburn was literally like enslaving people. So it's like, it's easy not to root for him. This book is so interesting to me because we kind of said it, you can understand both sides.
Yes.
You can understand why having a choice, obviously, as part of the people is very, very important, but you can also understand why maybe like regulating people's emotions and memories and those sorts of things can be important to maintaining
health
balance,
and safety.
Of
resources, earthly resources
of our world. Because at the end of the day, you only get one planet. You only get one opportunity.
This is the only one we got. Yeah, it's the only one we got. You guys remember that song? Nope. That's probably local to me from my 6th grade choir.
Is that your mom singing?
She loves it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of, I think I understand. I think that just was like really putting it into perspective, because you think about it and it's like, a burning of a few trees and like whatever, like the circle of life is like the circle of life. But when you think about it from like a global scale where there's billions of people on a planet because we've overpopulated, like, and it becomes a dangerous situation, it's a completely different thing. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to prevent.
And it is really interesting because you don't want people to die. Like Thanos just snapped his finger and half the population is gone.
Right.
But at the same time, he's doing it to save the planets.
Well, but that's the thing. The death has already happened. So it's like, that's not even what they're responsible for. At this point, they're responsible for the future. The future. And that's what they've done.
They don't want it to do that again. History repeats itself. They're trying not to let it repeat itself.
Exactly. I think that there could have maybe be some like common grounds. Like maybe we can like reduce, the population, or like maintain a low population by regulating birth control in a certain specific way, or like certain things like that.
You can start so low.
There's ways to, I think, around this, but also, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit much, but I do understand.
It's extreme, but that's what makes it like fantasy and fun to read about.
For sure. Okay, sorry. What's yours?
Mine was getting dressed was always the hardest part of the afternoon, which I think was the first line of the book. And it's I love it. Yeah, because it's such a contrast to like where her mind was just a little bit ago, after when she was still ugly.
Yeah, 100%.
Like her biggest problem was what? Like finding the cure. Like Az just died, and like her boyfriend is like
hates her.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And her boyfriend's mom hates her.
Yeah, that's even like worse.
It's so bad.
And now she's like, oh, what do I wear tonight?
What do I wear to this party?
So
no, I agree.
So contrasting.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Who would you be?
Croy
again.
I would be Croy, because I definitely wouldn't be.
He stepped up.
He stepped up and he stepped out.
He stepped out.
He stepped up and he stepped out. But also he is still ugly. And
just to be clear, I'm not pretty.
Not pretty in this world. And he's really like just the leg of it, and he's not in it very much. So yeah, probably Croy.
Okay, I picked one of the 7 randoms that are with Shay in her little circle, trying to get into a clique as a nothing pretty.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That would suck so bad.
It would suck.
To like join this gang that's literally this other gang. I keep calling them gang.
It's cliques. They say cliques in the book.
The Crims are a gang. The other cliques may be a clique. Like
the hot airs are not a gang. They're just totally chilling on vibes.
They're just totally filling. Yeah. But the Crims are a gang. Let's be so
funny. Who would you want to be?
Fausto.
I picked Fausto too.
Who doesn't love Fausto?
Yeah, I feel like he's just, he's got it pretty good right now. Nothing really horrible's happening. He's kind of in the middle of this revolution, and Like,
yeah, but he's also
not in
making
the middle,
breakthroughs.
but like off the side to the revolution.
Yeah, he's making breakthroughs too. Everyone loves Fausto.
Yeah, he's like the lovable side character.
I'm obsessed with Fausto.
Who's your favorite character?
Oh, this is so hard. Honestly, Zane. I adore Zane.
Zane is so interesting because he really was on his way to curing himself long before Tally showed up.
I agree.
And so he really had it. He was something special about his mind.
Yeah, he is such an interesting character, but he also is very caring, and I think, I don't know, I just very much
There's
like
no mistaking
Zane.
Zane's feelings.
He
is who he is, and we love him.
Genuine, and yeah, I like him a lot.
I love Zane. And it's interesting because like the last book we're like David. But
see, and I shipped David with Tally, but I didn't like David. Not very much. Like I liked him okay, but like the way that David handled the situation with Shay.
Oh yeah.
Like I hated that. Like I thought that was so shitty.
Yeah.
He didn't even break up with Shay before he was making out with Tally. Like that's so fucked up.
And like you're in a small community out in the woods.
Out in the woods.
Like you have to make those moves.
He was like talking shit about Shay to Tally the first day that Tally showed up.
That's so true.
Like David kind of sucked a little bit.
He just like went for what was available.
100%.
Oh my gosh.
100%. Like I was not like I shipped David and Tally, but I did not think David was like that great of a dude.
That's funny. But like Tally said, like just because her memories of David are missing doesn't like negate her current memories with Zane. I feel like that might be in the next book, or the next half. But
yeah.
But it's still relevant. Who's your? Okay,
Wait, who was yours?
I picked Tally, and I didn't write any reason down, but we're just because we're inside of her head and she's going through her struggles, and I'm just with her.
The only reason I can't get it's because of the 16-year-old. Like when she gets into a boy situation, she just gets so wrapped up into it.
Yeah, just like kind of ignores the rest of her friends.
And I can kind of understand
group.
Why, but at the same time, like it's like, okay, girl,
kind of bad.
Yeah, she just like really kind of abandoned Shay a little bit.
And then Shay comes at her and she's like, what the heck?
Where is this coming from?
She has no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to be able to anticipate. She's a very smart, resilient, like she wants to survive. She'll do anything at any means to survive.
A fighter.
But she doesn't have very good like emotional intelligence, I think, of like reading other people and like stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she could work on that a little bit.
She's got a lot going on. She's got a lot going on.
She could still work on that, I think.
Who's your least favorite character? I didn't even write anybody down.
Oh my God. The easy one is like Dr. Cable, I suppose. But even her, like I kind of understand.
Yeah. We understand her too much.
I understand her too much. Maybe Shay. I'm gonna say Shay.
Okay.
Even though I can understand where she's coming from, I think that her, like even Dr. Cable, her motives are not selfish. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not like everything that she does is to her own end.
Yeah.
It's to the end of the human race and benefiting the human race as a whole.
Yeah.
The picture is bigger than just herself.
Yeah.
Shay is the only one whose picture is literally
Shay.
the mirror that she holds in front of her face.
And that's good for Shay. Shay does things for Shay.
And that's where I struggle. That's where I'm kind of like, I can't.
Dude, yeah, it doesn't stop.
I just simply cannot.
Yeah.
Who's your least favorite?
I didn't write anybody down, but it's got to be Shay. There's no one else that's really like that selfish. She's just selfish.
Yeah, but then she has the nerve to say Tally selfish.
Yeah, because you stole my boyfriend.
Tally is kind of selfish, a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong.
Okay, they're all a little bit selfish, but she's like really selfish.
But Shay is the most selfish. Yeah. No, it's ironic that she's calling Tally selfish.
That is funny.
The irony is crazy. The irony is crazy when she sat there in the smoke. Like, I don't understand why they have all these security measures. That's like fucking crazy.
Yeah, they block out radio signals. Like too much.
Too much. It's seriously like, oh wait, like,
take your tinfoil hat off, Smokies. You're fine.
You're fine. No one is looking for you. Oh my God.
It doesn't end.
Oh my God.
Oh, she's funny. I love Shay. To conclude, I love Shay. We just talked shit about her for like 25 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Okay, any final thoughts? I'm excited for part 2.
I'm excited for part 2.
There's just a lot of action. There's a crazy like a social experiment that happens that we like fall into, and it's kind of shocking.
It is really shocking, and I'll be honest, I'm glad they put it in there, but it also lasted too long.
It was fair. It was like a third of the book. Like I get that. I like being there, but not for that long.
No.
We'll get into it next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, next time we're finishing it up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for leaving all those reviews on Spotify. Keep doing it. If you haven't done it, go rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have any fan art, I feel like art from this would be so cool. Send it. Fanfic, any series that we've read, send it.
Yeah, send some fan art of their surges. That means surgeries. Of their surgeries. I would love to see like any other ideas.
Flash tattoos.
Yeah. Or
Those
just
are
like other
cool.
ideas, like if you had to do some sort of crazy out of this world surge
Like if
that
you were
like maybe isn't possible for like our technology, but would be maybe in this world.
You mean like getting emeralds on your iris in the shape of a clock?
Yeah, that's like obviously something that would not be like done here, but what would be?
Yeah, you're a pretty. You want to try to impress somebody. What are you surging?
Yeah, what are you searching?
What are you searching?
Let us know.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com.
And I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Right.
Well, that was totally bubbly making.
That was super famous making.
I am not brain missing when I say
what?
oh,
Bye.
Bye.
Anyways, bye.
Bye.